What's up, you guys? Johan the Gym Monk here, and today we're going to discuss the many benefits and pitfalls of fasting. Now, there's a number of reasons why you might want to fast. Autophagy is one of them. Gut rest and recovery is another one. Willpower, fat loss, as well as psychological transformation. I'm making this video today because fasting has a great number of benefits, as well as I've been getting a number of questions in relationship to a fast I did recently. And towards the end of the video, I will discuss some personal stories from fasting that you might find quite interesting. In this video, I'm going to cover each topic separately. And at the end, I'm going to give you a few tips and tricks to help you with a fast if you would like to do one, as well as some things to look out for and how to do it the best way possible. I'm sure some of you with pets or animals or who worked with animals will have noticed that when an animal is sick, they will typically stop eating and drinking. They will undertake a fast in order to recover from whatever ailment they might have. During a fast, we will experience something called autophagy. Autophagy is the clearing away of dead cells, or let's say weakened cells that are no longer as efficient, and as well as the clearing away of organelles within those cells, the substructures that cells produce to perform their functions. During a fasted state, autophagy is significantly enhanced, and the body will clear away old and inefficient parts of the body. Think of autophagy as maintenance. Taking in your car for a service, for example. Taking out old rubbers, replacing bolts and nuts that are maybe rusted or no longer holding on properly or have been misshapen through stress. This is a sort of clearing and repair process and can be very, very beneficial. The other major benefit of fasting, and the personal reason that I've done as many fasts as I have, is for gut rest and gut recovery. I've struggled with many autoimmune conditions, as well as sort of digestive allergies and major digestive distress. And every time that I've done an extended fast, 2 to 3 days long, it has significantly reduced those symptoms afterwards. And part of the reason for this is that when the gut is digesting, it is unable to perform cellular repair at the same level. So while you're digesting and eating, your body has to constantly fight to upkeep and maintain the system, but is unable to make massive overhauls and massive repairs. If you are struggling with a gut issue, fasting might be something that could help you. I will give one word of caution. Gut health will not improve if you continue to eat foods after the fast that are aggravating your digestive distress. So after finishing a fast and resetting your digestive system, it's important to slowly reintroduce foods and be sure that any foods that cause allergic reactions, excessive bloating, even mood disorders and mood swings need to be paid close attention to and eliminated from your diet so that they do not reactivate or re-damage the gut again. Willpower is another reason we may choose to fast. We very often think about training our muscles, our cardiovascular systems, even our brains with games, memory exercises, chess, Sudoku, these sorts of things. But very seldom do we consider training our willpower, which is the ability to say no to something that you would like, need, or want, while saying yes to something that feels uncomfortable in the moment. Another reason you may choose to undertake a fast is for psychological or spiritual transformation. Now, many cultures, many religions, traditions have used fasting as well as many other techniques such as dark room therapy or sensory deprivation, alongside things like plant medicines, extended drumming and dancing, extended food abstinence with physical activity, heat, extreme circumstances, extreme physiological states in order to create what we call an altered state of consciousness. Now, these shamanic tools all work slightly differently, fasting being one of the most cheap and, I would say, reliable methods and safe methods for inducing psychological change. I've personally witnessed massive transformations and changes in my life as a result of doing fasts, even a 3-day fast. This recent 3-day fast was a lot more brutal than I would have expected. My body mass is much higher and my metabolism is much faster than any of the fasts I've done before, and the enormous calorie deprivation created led to a very powerful transformative experience that I'd like to share with you. Now, on the recent fast, I did 3 days, and by the 3rd day, I was deep enough into ketosis that some of these psychological transformative properties of fasting began to take place. I have for a number of years been working on correcting, healing, and rewiring certain parts of my cognition. As a baby, I had something called colic, where I was experiencing a tremendous amount of gas and bloating as a little child, and this caused significant pain and discomfort. Through recent experiences, I've been able to re-access these traumatic, painful memories. Very seldom do we realize how powerful these early childhood experiences can be, and to rewrite or heal those memories can often be extremely challenging. On this fast, I was able to continue a healing process that I've been undertaking for a number of years in correcting and healing some of this trauma that's created by early childhood experiences, or in this case, an infant experience. So how does this transformation or trauma healing actually play out? Well, it may play out with the sense of something bubbling to the surface. It's as though a discomfort or pain within the psyche begins to bubble up and press to the surface, creating a certain amount of pressure, discomfort, and a lot of volatile emotions. When this does occur on a fast, I highly suggest that instead of trying to avoid it or cover it up or ignore it or try to do something else and distract yourself, that you instead press into that discomfort and allow yourself to feel those emotions. Now, what happens when you allow yourself to feel those emotions? Well, you might have outbursts of emotion. You may suddenly begin to cry. You may suddenly begin to shake uncontrollably. You may begin to laugh. What's happening here is that your psyche is healing itself. The body knows how to heal wounds, both physical, emotional, and psychological. And being in a fasted state gives your body, as well as your mind and soul, an opportunity to begin to heal some of these wounds because there is a lack of stimulus. I highly suggest that you allow yourself to enter into these emotional states and release any kind of built-up emotions that may be there. Now, you might not even be able to track it back to a specific event, and that's okay. As is very often said, feeling is healing, and allowing yourself to feel these traumatic emotions, and very often our sense of security, our feelings around our safety in the world are very much connected to food. And so when you cut out food, you take away that feeling of safety given to you by eating constantly. You are now able to deal with some of those feelings of insecurity around your safety and well-being in the world. For myself particularly, it was extremely effective and allowed me to unburden quite a lot of psychophysiological discomfort and distress that I had been experiencing. Another psychological transformative experience that you may have during fasting, and may be a reason to fast, is connecting to intuition. A personal story that I can share from a fast I did. I was on a 7-day fast as a teenager, maybe 18 or 19 years old. And by the 5th day, as you can imagine, I was in a very deep state of ketosis and was rather in an altered state of consciousness. What happened to me was that it was around lunchtime, and I was with my father in the city, in an area of the city I did not know very well. In fact, I'd only been there once or twice, and for the explicit reason of visiting a music store that was there. It being lunchtime, my dad decided to enter a restaurant to go get some food, and tasked me with mailing a small pile of letters at the post office, which I very immediately realized I didn't know where it was, being that I didn't really know that area of the city very well. But instead of going into the restaurant, which I was at first going to do, I had this thought, why don't you just ask? So I, in a very deep state of ketosis and calm, posed the question within myself, where's the post office? And something very, very odd happened almost immediately. I felt this sense of a pull in a direction. And so I just began walking. Not necessarily knowing if I was heading in the right direction, I simply just followed the sense of intuition. And I followed it to a certain point where it felt that I needed to turn. It no longer felt I was going in that direction. I turned and walked another 10 or 20 meters, only to discover that the post office was right next to me. Now, what do I think happened there? Well, there's a number of explanations, some quite metaphysical and spiritual, and others quite simple. But a simple explanation is that my subconscious mind did in fact remember where the post office was, and had recorded that information. However, it being of such a insignificant or seemingly insignificant nature, my conscious mind didn't have an access path to it. However, in this fasted state, I was able to tap into my intuition, my subconscious intelligence, and actually pull out this information and make it usable to me. And so you may find that if you're at a bottleneck in trying to solve certain problems where you need a great amount of intuition, fasting might actually be beneficial for that. So how much weight can you realistically actually expect to lose on a fast, fat-wise? Well, I would say about a pound of fat a day, if your metabolism is fast enough, or you maintain your metabolism throughout the fast. In other words, you continue to walk, do light exercises, not too strenuous. I find those to be way too taxing. But, doing some cardio, walking around, cleaning the house, the basic things, working in the garden, keeping your metabolism active, which is very, very fast. Every day spent fasting will equate to about a week of dieting. Now, am I suggesting that this is the best way to just quickly burn body fat? No. This is where caution is required. Fasting is not a simple tool to just avoid the hard work of eating properly and eating healthy. Yes, it will help you burn fat a little bit faster, but it's not going to make up for a poor diet. So you need to do both. If you are trying to lose a large amount of weight, you can use fasting to help you, but make sure that you're eating nutrient-dense food, especially micronutrient-dense foods. Check my previous video. And make sure that your body is functioning well and that you are healthy. Tips and tricks. So number one, start small. Start with a 1-day fast. Start with skipping one meal. Get your body used to fasting. I like to encourage people who've never fasted to try fast just 1 day as opposed to 3 days. Set a small goal and work yourself up. Tip number 2, drink water with some electrolytes in. Simple, just add half a teaspoon to a teaspoon of salt per liter of water, and you're going to feel significantly better on the fast because you're not going to get so electrolyte depleted. This can often lead to fatigue and exhaustion, so make sure you're getting in some sodium, and it's not a bad idea to get some potassium and magnesium electrolytes in as well if you have those available in a non-caloric hydration pack. Tip number 3, have something to do during the fast. Don't do it when you're just lazing around or you're going to think about eating all the time and it makes it more difficult. Be busy. Have things planned out. Have a priority list, tasks that you're going to complete during your fast. This way, it kind of distracts your mind and makes the fasting a little bit easier. Number 4, longer is not better. Doing more than 5 days, even though I've done a 7-day fast, often puts a tremendous amount of stress on the body. It leads to poorer sleep each day that the fast continues, and will often just really stress you out. So I suggest nothing more than 5 days for most people. Rather, do 5 days refeed, which means eating at maintenance calories for a few days, getting everything back up and running, your metabolism going, and then do another 5-day fast. This way that you're not going to deprive yourself too severely or stress the body out in a major way. And tip number 5, last but not least, listen to your body. If your body tells you need to stop a fast, it's causing too much stress, then you need to do so. You need to develop a relationship with your metabolism and your health and well-being so that you can optimize yourself. The body does know what it needs and requires, and if you listen carefully enough and pay enough attention, your body will tell you when it's time to stop fasting. Now, especially once you start to get lean, when you drop below 12% body fat, then you get to 9% body fat, this is where fasting is no longer a very good way of burning fat because it really results in massive amounts of fatigue compared to when you're at a higher body fat percentage. So fasting is most effective for those individuals with a high body fat percentage trying to get it to a reasonable body fat percentage and not necessarily for getting ultra lean. And that's all for the video. Thank you guys very much for watching. Like and subscribe. Comment down below. It helps the algorithm. And if you guys have any questions, any specific topics you'd like me to cover, any topics of interest, please comment down below and I'll try and make a video about that. Thank you very much.